Hello, class.
Hello, class.
Oh. How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, wait. I can hear my husband watching this in the other room. I need to tell him to turn his volume off. Can you put in headphones? I can hear you. Okay. How is everybody doing tonight? Okay, we're going to start off. First of all, I kind of want to say, no, not kind of. I want to say thank you all for joining my first YouTube Live. I'm so excited to have all of you here to talk about everything that happened in Week 16, to break everything down for you, to talk about the Week 17 matchups and how that can change a lot of things for a lot of these teams, and just to have fun talking about football. Again, I'm no NFL expert or analyst. It's just me and my elementary school knowledge of the NFL. But that's why we're all here, for the elementary school knowledge. But we are going to start things off with the way that I always start things off on the live. Not on the live. The way I always start things off in class, which is, here we go. Clap it up for Week 16, everybody. I hope all of you are clapping. I'm going to use the chat a lot for interactions. I'm going to ask you questions. You are going to be my class. Right now, I am talking to nobody. So I need you to be my class in the chat. I'll be looking occasionally. I have someone that's moderating to highlight some things for me as we move along. So, are we ready? I'm going to look. Here we go. It looks like we're ready. So, something new that I've been actually starting with my kiddos was breaking down Week 16. We've kind of just been going over who won and who lost in Week 16, because these Week 16 this was Week 16. These Week 16 games determine what our board and our conference standings look like. So we're going to go through each game. I'm going to rip it off. Here we go. I literally brought my classroom home. Okay, here's the first slate. I'm trying not to get anything ruined. I've got my expo marker. Are we ready? Now, I'm going to need you guys in the comments to be my class, like I mentioned. I'm going to ask you who won. I want you to type it in the chat, our winner. So, our first game, which feels like forever ago. I don't know why, but the Rams and the Seahawks game feels like 3 weeks ago, but it happened last Thursday. And I think it's because so much happened. But Rams versus Seahawks, who was our winner? Type it in the chat. Seahawks, that is absolutely correct. The Seahawks won, and what a thriller this one was. And I kind of have a question for you all, because the Seahawks won in overtime, going for 2. And I did a lesson with my kiddos the other day, a couple weeks ago, an opinion writing piece about, would you take the risk and go for 2, or would you play it safe and kick the extra point and tie the game? Now, the examples that I used was the Commanders' Marcus Mariota, him going for 2 and missing it, and then the Green Bay Packers and the Cowboys tying it. There was mixed reviews, but now after seeing a successful go for 2, Seahawks win, what would you do? Would you go for 2 and risk it, or would you play it safe? I'm excited to see. Tie the game. I would go for 2 every single time. That's a winner right there. Go for 2, play it safe. And that's the thing, is when someone just said, I wanted them to go for 2. I wanted them to play it safe, but was happy they took the risk. And that's one of those things with, if they had missed the go for 2 opportunity, everyone and their mother would have said, oh, they should have just played it safe. But since they successfully had a 2-point conversion and won the game, not really anybody is saying we should have kicked the field goal. It's only when things don't go right that we think the grass is probably greener. But props to the Seattle Seahawks. Props to my boy Adam. We know what this game means. This game put them at the top of the NFC, and I was able to update my kids with that on Friday. They were super stoked for Adam. We're going to give props to Nate. So tight. But let's keep it moving. That was a big one. There was a lot to talk about with that game. Okay, let me fix my hair. I like ties. They make standings interesting. Seahawks and 49ers. I know. Number 1 week could be fire. Okay, we are going to talk about the game when week 17 comes. Eagles versus Commanders. I put a star by this game, and I'm going to tell you why later. However, who won that game? As we know, the Eagles. Eagles won this game. Now, the Eagles started off kind of slow in this game, and I thought, holy, okay. Are the Commanders showing us something here? But the Eagles eventually came back and won the game. And because of this Eagles win, they have knocked the Cowboys out of the playoffs before the Cowboys even played their game on Sunday. Mind you, this game was Saturday. The Cowboys were knocked out of the playoffs before they even played because the Eagles won, which was kind of a cool thing. And there was more things that happened because of this, but we're just going to start with this. We got a lot of letters to add to this board, and I'm really excited to show you. Let me take a look at the chat. Yeah, go Birds. Someone started GoFundMe for what? Okay. This game, Saturday night football, Saturday night NFL, Packers versus Bears. It is the second time that they were meeting. They met 2 weeks ago. The Packers defeated the Bears, but Micah Parsons, their best defensive player, also went down with a season-ending injury, and now the Bears and the Packers met again on Saturday Night Football. And boy, what a game it was. I mean, even if you're not a football fan, I think I have scrolled TikTok 20 times seeing live reactions of people watching the game-winning drive for the Bears, which leads me to my next point. Who won this game? The Bears. This was a super important game for the Bears, and I just think of my student Mateo because I remember so vividly when we were doing our division standings before we switched to conference, these Bears were sitting at the bottom at number 4, and Mateo was super in his feelings about it. I mean, super in his feelings. Very, very sad. And I said, you know what? We got to take it week by week by week. That's all you can do. You can't jump from 4 to 1 magically. You have to take it week by week. And now, look at them. Started from the bottom, now we're here, right? That's like the Bears mantra. And who does not love good, better, best? Now, if my mom is on here, I'm not going to show you something. If my mom is not on here, I want to show you something. But I'm going to leave that for later. Okay. Anything to note? Oh, about the Bears game, DJ Moore, game-winning touchdown in overtime. Caleb Williams with the pass to secure it all. I mean, just cinema. Let's see. It's getting kind of hot in here. Okay, Green Bay Packers. Packers are still, I feel for the Packers. And I actually think that the defense looked pretty good even without Micah Parsons. I think they're a solid team, but it's unfortunate that Jordan Love did go down with an injury, and they just have a lot to figure out. And sometimes you make it to the final stretch and things start to fall apart, but can they hold it together as a team? Okay, let's talk about Jets versus Saints. This game was kind of like a nothing game. It didn't mean anything for standings. Both teams are eliminated. And a lot of you might think, well, why are they playing the game? If this means nothing for the playoffs, why are these teams even stepping on the field? Well, for those of you that don't know, a lot of these players inside their contracts have little contentions. If this player makes it to 500 yards, he will get a $500,000 bonus. If this player gets 18 tackles, he will get such and such bonus, right? And also, players play because they want to win and they want to play the game. But know that there are those types of things inside their contracts to entice them to play. Now, Jets versus Saints. The Saints showed up and showed out. And my boy Jose is loving life with the Saints showing up and showing out. I mean, Tyler Shuck, their quarterback, I don't know where he came from. I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot about him, but okay, Saints, you got it going on. The Jets have a lot to figure out. I'm not going to lie. They've got a lot to figure out, and that's okay. It's not their year. It can't always be your year, just like we're learning with the Chiefs, which is another story. But I really enjoy their head coach, Aaron Glenn, and I think that maybe they can figure things out. They just have a lot to piece together. Let me look at the comments. Saints won, plus is good for the draft. Yes. It also means a lot. Yes, the draft is another thing. So once the draft comes around in April, I do a draft simulation with my kids where they will get to draft players. They will get to act as GM for their team. And if you're one of my students and you're watching this now, surprise, that's what we're doing in April. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh, the slippers. Guys, one of my grown-ups got this for me for Christmas from my classroom. It was like my classroom gift. So shout out to her. She said she got them at Dollar Tree. Go to Dollar Tree if you want these football slippers. Love it. Here we go. Bills versus Browns. The outcome of that game, everybody we know, was the Bills. Now, most of you see this on paper, and here's a lot of the things we see on paper. We see things how they're written, and we would have automatically assumed, oh, the Bills got it in the bag. But I'm not going to lie. The Browns kind of had their number. I mean, the score was 23-20. It was not an easy win for the Bills. And the Bills are a scary team. However, they have a lot to figure out defensively. And this is kind of what I pose to my kids with each of their teams, is that each of you are on your own journey. Each of you are on your own journey with your NFL teams, kind of like we're on our own journey in life. And we can't compare my journey as the Dolphins to the journey of the Bills. It's not parallel, right? We are on our separate journeys, so we can't compare our test scores to somebody else's test scores. Again, we're on our separate journey. And them having such wild and different journeys has helped to remind them of that when they get test scores back, when they get certain things, that they receive. So I love that message about them drafting their own teams. Okay. Browns with Myles Garrett. I have the same slippers. Love them. Love it. Are the Ravens and Patriots on your board? They're on the next slip. Okay, here we go. Chiefs versus Titans. Who won? Say it in the chat. Titans, yes, they won. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I did a Zoom, like a little intimate Google Meets with class where we did this together. And my girl Kiana was so excited. She was just like, Miss Cribbin, we got our third win. And I was like, yes. Or we got a third win. I think it's our third win. Are they 3-11? Is that what it is? Something like that. But she was stoked for her Titans. And I was stoked for her. She has rode with her teams through the downs and a little bit of ups, right? The Chiefs. This is very odd to see as an NFL fan. If you're a new-ish NFL fan, you are used to seeing this team at the top of every discussion in the AFC, at the top of every discussion in the Super Bowl realm. We're just used to it. We're used to seeing the Chiefs. We're used to seeing them up there, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, all the 9 yards. The Chiefs are eliminated. And it's kind of a wild thing. Patrick Mahomes, as we know, is out with an ACL tear. That happened in the week prior. The backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew, during this game, Chiefs versus Titans, he also went down with an injury. So QB1, Patrick Mahomes, out with an injury. I almost stuck out the middle finger. QB2, Gardner Minshew, out also with an injury during this game. They thought it was an ACL tear, but I read on Twitter this morning that it actually wasn't. He just tore a lot of things, but not the ACL. Still not great. He is now listed on IR. And IR is called your injury reserve. And he has to be on injury reserve for at least 4 weeks. So when a player gets put on IR, they're there for 4 weeks minimum. Now, there aren't 4 weeks left of the season, so Gardner Minshew is not coming back this season. Alas, somebody else is going to have to step in. And if you know who's stepping in, put it in the chat, because I don't even know. Yes, the Chiefs are. That's another thing. I mean, it's not really it's applicable, but not applicable now because the Chiefs just came out with that. They are moving their stadium. They play in Kansas City, Missouri. They are moving across the border to Kansas. They're going to play in Kansas, but this change isn't happening until I think 2030. So let's keep it moving. Chargers versus Cowboys. Who won? Put it in the chat. Someone said Chargers because the Cowboys didn't show up. Are you a Cowboys fan? Yes. The Chargers won. Justin Herbert still fresh off his surgery. I think that he was still wearing some sort of cast or protective thing, but the Chargers looked pretty good. I mean, hey, Chargers. Could it be the year? I don't know yet. Beep, 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 beep. Go Texans. Love it. Here we go. Vikings versus Giants. Again, a nothing game. Why a nothing game? Because it didn't have any impact on the playoff standings. This game did not impact the Vikings, did not impact the Giants, except just morally. A moral victory, a victory to showcase what they got, a victory to get the $500,000 bonus, a victory because they want to win and they don't want to just show up to lose, right? But alas, the Vikings did win this game. The Giants have a lot to figure out. Jackson Dart, I know that he can figure out. Again, he's fresh. I think that he's got a long career ahead of him if he protects himself. Okay, here we go. On to the next. Now we have one of the most anticipated games, the Bucks versus the Panthers. Wowzers, the Panteras took this one, and the Panthers won. And this was a huge win for the Panthers, and you will see why this was a huge win when we go to our board. But the Panthers and the Bucks, again, they're in the same division. And if you're new, and if you still don't quite understand divisions, in your division, you play everybody twice. So because they're in the same division, the Bucks and the Panthers will see each other 2 times. This was their first time meeting. They're going to meet again on week 18. So not next week, but the week after. So their matchups were saved for the last 3 weeks of the season. And it's kind of like, did the NFL know? Did the NFL know that this was going to be such a huge matchup this year? Because that week 18 game is going to matter. Okay, Bengals versus Dolphins. Clap it up for the Bengals because the Dolphins lost. The Bengals, I remember Joe Burrow had a press conference. Joe Burrow just wants to have fun playing football. Well, he looked like he had a lot of fun playing in South Florida beating the Miami Dolphins. So maybe that boosted him up a little bit. But the Dolphins are going through a lot. As we know, they just benched their quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. It was the first start for rookie quarterback drafted in the 7th round, Quinn Ewers. And a shaky start, but I will say a positive. He looked comfortable. He looked calm. He didn't look stressed out and panicky and frantic. And with a season that's not going anywhere anymore, sure, let's see what he can do. Let's see how comfortable he can get. I mean, right now, the Dolphins just have a lot that they need to change. A lot. And where does it start? That's what they need to figure out. And they don't have a lot of money left. Okay. Beep, 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 beep. Sorry, Miss Crippen. That's okay. Okay. Poor Dolphins. Dolphins, please beat the Bucks on Sunday. Okay, here we go. Jags versus Broncos. Another star next to this game. This was a big game, a highly anticipated game. Why? The Broncos currently sit, before week 16 started, the Broncos currently sat at number 1 in the AFC, the king of the AFC, not just the king of their division, but the king of the entire AFC. They were the team to beat. They are a force to be reckoned with. And the Jags, as Liam Cohn said, that small market team, right? But this small market Jags came out and showed up and showed out against the Broncos. And it was really cool to see Trevor Lawrence and his progression. I think the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, he was highly anticipated to be this superstar. And I think the first few years of him in the NFL, it kind of just looked, he's good. He's got sparks here and there. But now this season, he's found himself. And sometimes it takes a change of scenery. Maybe that's not changing your team. Maybe that's not changing different things, but simply just a change of coaching scenery. And I think the team that he has around him is really helping to build him up and They've even done this without their #1 draft pick, Travis Hunter. So just kudos to the Jags. They're swimming in their swimming pool in Jacksonville. I always love when the NFL, when they play in Jacksonville and then they pan to the people in Jacksonville swimming in the swimming pool. And then on Red Zone, the next screen is like Buffalo and it's a snowstorm. It cracks me up. Okay. Broncos, still a force to be reckoned with. This loss, it's a loss and losses happen, but they're still going to be a force to be reckoned with. Let's see the chat. Yes, better to lose now than win in the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence owns the AFC West. Okay. Finally setting in. Okay, here we go. Let's move on. Falcons versus Cardinals. Again, a nothing game. Shout out to Bijan Robinson making the Pro Bowl. Clap it up for Bijan, everybody. Clap it up for Bijan Robinson. In this game, the Falcons won. The Falcons beat the Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals have a lot to figure out. And I'm going to leave it at that. They got a lot that they need to figure out over there in Arizona. And that's okay. Sometimes we need to figure things out. Doesn't mean we're going to stay there and rock bottom. We just need to figure it out. And there they are needing to figure it out. It's not their year. And that's just the way the cookie crumbled this year for them. And the Falcons, Kirk Cousins, I love Kirk Cousins, but they got their win. Again, they had a shaky year, but I'm hoping for bigger and better things for that team. Again, a lot that they needed to figure out. Okay, Raiders versus Texans. Star on this game because of our Texans. Texans came away with this game. And I talked about this Texans team a lot with my students because before week 3, I showed my students a stat. And if my students are listening right now, they're probably sick of hearing me say this. I showed them a stat of if your team by week 3 is 0-3, if your team is 1-2, if your team is 2-1, if your team is 1-2, or if your team is 3-0, the percent chance of teams that make the playoffs going 0-3 that don't make the playoffs. Now, it was not a big percent of teams that made the playoffs going 0-3. But here the Texans are. They started 0-3, and they're in this playoff picture. They have figured it out, showing that, yes, sometimes starting rocky can mean you have a lot to pick up, but it's not about how you start. It can also be about how you finish. But that saying does not work for every team because it doesn't work for my Dolphins because we scrambled too hard and we lost it all. So with this Texans team, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And they picked up the pieces at the right time. Texans D. Let's see. Someone said hi. That's almost like the Seahawks motto. Yes, for the Falcons, I want a healthy Penix next year. I agree. Okay, Battle of the Birds. Go Bijan. Yes. Here we go. Steelers-Lions. This game was a mic drop game. This game, the Steelers came away with this win, but I think the craziest part about this game was the end of this game, right? And at the end of this game, there was 2 controversial calls. Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions, they were losing, right? They were losing this game, not by an entire touchdown. If they scored a touchdown, they would have won the game. There's not a lot of time left on the clock. They're in the 4th quarter, and they have the ball. Jared Goff throws a pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown, catches it in the end zone, touchdown, everybody goes wild. Beep, 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 beep. There's a penalty flag. So it gets called back. And the Lions have to try again so that touchdown doesn't count, right? And then, beep, 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 beep. I think they get pushed back another 5 yards because someone had a false start. And then again, he throws it again to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets a little handsy with Jalen Ramsey, meaning he pushed and shoved Jalen Ramsey, the defensive player. They beep, 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 call the play. But after he gets a little handsy and catches the ball, Amon-Ra St. Brown tosses that ball to Jared Goff. Jared Goff runs that ball into the end zone for a touchdown. So there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of deliberation. There's a lot of people chit-chatting. Well, it was an offensive pass interference, meaning the offense did a little push and shove when you're not allowed to. But then again, Jared Goff got the ball and ran it in. And I think the biggest letdown of that game was honestly in the way that the referee called it. So at the end of the game, when the clock struck 0, the referee decided to start with the call on the play is a touchdown. So the crowd goes wild. But it was an offensive pass interference, so the touchdown doesn't count. And I think that confused a lot of people and was just kind of a weird way to end the game. It was just kind of, oh, okay, that's it. All right. Okay. Zeros proved all the haters wrong. Everyone was counting us out. Yes, it was crazy. We were reviewing for 5. Yes, Corn Doggy is so right. And if you don't know Corn Doggy is my BFF. Corn Doggy is right. We were reviewing that for like 5 minutes. And everybody, and during those 5 minutes, the projections were going, I mean, it was wild. It was wild. But let's move on in class. This is what happens in class, right? We get on the top topic and we go on it for a while. Patriots versus Ravens, the Sunday night football game. The Patriots came away with this game, and Drake May is show-stopping baby, right? I mean, wow. Mike Vrabel coming to the Patriots has revamped this team. I mean, holy cow. Are the Patriots back? Are the Patriots back? Are they? Is this like, are we doing time lapse to the Tom Brady era? This is really cool to see because I think Drake May seems like such a kind soul. I love his wife Ann Michael May's Bake Miss series. So really cool to see the Patriots rebuild the right way, right? When they lost Tom Brady, then they drafted Zach Wilson. No, sorry, not Zach Wilson. They drafted Mac Jones. Zach Wilson went to the Jets. When they drafted Mac Jones, as I taught my kids in the lesson, things started off great. There was hope. And then things didn't go well, right? This is in their rebuilding era. And then they ended up getting Drake May, and they've rebuilt their team the right way, where it's taken, 4 to 5 years? But here they are back in the playoff picture, where you look at a team like the Dolphins, who has been rebuilding their team for a long time and don't have much to show for it. So props to the Patriots. But Ravens, I really thought they were going to start their climb, but there seems to be a lot of inner things happening in there that I don't really know. Okay. Mac has shown he's still good. Yes, and I did a really great lesson on Mac Jones. You can ask my kids about it. Okay, well, you can't. I was wearing my Brock Purdy, but would love to see the Patriots and Broncos battle out for the spot in the Super Bowl. Everyone works at a different pace, so it's okay for the Dolphins to take longer. Yes, right? But as a fan, so separate yourself from the human aspect of it. As a fan, I'm more like, why is it taking the Dolphins so long to figure this out? Type of deal. Okay, last but not least, the 49ers versus the Colts. Grandpa Phillip Rivers came back and actually looked really good. I even said to myself yesterday, as this game was happening, I didn't think this game would be so entertaining so early on. I mean, I think going into halftime, it was 21-14 or something like that. And that's a high scoring game going into halftime. So I was pleasantly surprised with the pace of the game. Now, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. His story is, again, one of my favorites. Mr. Irrelevant, just, you know that meme that's like that guy that's like, that's how I feel about Brock Purdy's Mr. Irrelevant story. It's just like, it's so good. He's such a good human, and it's so cool to watch him succeed and do well and figure it out. But the 49ers came away with that win. Okay. I want the Packers in the playoffs. Eagles, he did look good. The defense not so much. But the thing about the 49ers, and we're going to talk about it as we move these flags, the 49ers are keeping themselves relevant when their defense is dismantled, when their top 2 Pro Bowl, whatever, defenders are out for the season. The team found a way to still be a team and rally with each other and use what they have to figure it out. And that's the coolest thing, is watching them figure it out as a team together. Okay, let's move on. Beep, 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 beep. Ha, ha, ha. Now, again, these games that we just did affect the standings board. Now, this board that you're looking at is the board that we left off with in class on Friday after I updated it to represent the Seahawks being number 1 after they won that Thursday night football game. Based on what happened in all of week 16, it's going to change some things here for the week 16 standings. After we talk about the standings, I'm going to tell you what to look for in week 17 because it makes it more interesting and it makes it more fun to watch when you know, ooh, if this person does this, ooh, right? It's just, you get it. Here we go. Okay. Beepity beep, 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 beep. Okay. What did Corn Doggy say? Oh my God, time to move up. Corn Doggy, if you don't know, Corn Doggy's team is the Seattle Seahawks. Corn Doggy's team is number 1, so let's clap it up for Corn Doggy, LOL. If you haven't seen his drawings, go look it up. Do yourself a favor, look it up. It's a crowd favorite with the kids, and I love it. But here we go. Now, if you didn't know, I take notes. I take a lot of notes. I jot a lot of things down. And I have our week 16 standings right here. Here we go. Now, it's a battle every week with my students. We start in the AFC twice, we start in the NFC twice, and then we go back and forth, and they scream and they shout, I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I have to remind them, I'm the boss, right? Your girl is in charge, and this is how we're going to do it. I believe I started in the AFC with them today, so we're going to keep that momentum. Next Tuesday, we'll start in the NFC. I promise. You can hold me to it. And if I forget, you can remind me in the chat. But we're going to start in the AFC. Now, the AFC is the simplest one to start in. Why is the AFC the simplest one to start with? Because the AFC, I think my cat is outside scratching on the door. Should I go get her? Chat, should I go get my cat? This is like Dr. Seuss rhyme. Chat, should I go get my cat? Here we go. Let's refresh and see. Cat, yes, 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 yes. Okay, give me 2 seconds. The door's right there. Are you coming in? Come on. Okay. Can you guys see Kit Kat? Everybody say hello to Kit Kat. My husband and I, we rescued her. She showed up at our doorstep, and she begged for our love, and now she's ours forever. Kit Kat. Okay, she's a tuxedo. But let's talk about the AFC. The AFC stays the same. And I know that might seem very, what's the word for it? It's not a lot of oohs and ahs. My kids love seeing the pennants go up and down because there's so many oohs and ahs. This staying the same doesn't provide a lot of oohs and ah moments. What do you think? She's not really, no oohs and ahs for her either. Okay, now, let's get back to business. I am going to show you a little bit of things. I'm going to write the record so you can see what it looks like. And then I have to add some letters. Here we go. As we know, the Broncos stay at number 1. They have an X because they have clinched the playoffs. Okay. Before we even dive deeper into this, if you're new here, I want to remind you what this means. First of all, there are 14 teams in the entire NFL that make the playoffs. There are 32 teams in the NFL. Only 14 of them make the playoffs. 7 from the AFC, 7 from the NFC, right? That's it. Now, your first 4 spots, if you notice, the colors are different because the first 4 spots go to the king of your division. That's right. Each conference, AFC and NFC, has 4 divisions: North, South, East, and West. Never eat soggy worms, right? The Broncos are your king of the West, meaning they're on the top of their division, and they have clinched the playoffs. They have an X. Clinching the playoffs, all that means is that they are never going to drop out of the top 7. No matter what happens, no matter if they lose the rest of their games, they are going to stay in the playoffs. So they have punched their ticket to the playoffs, baby, right? That's a good thing. Now what they haven't done is they have not punched their ticket as the king of their division. So they could drop out of the top 4. Remember, top 4 is the king of your division. And they could move down here in the bottom 3. But they're never moving out of the playoffs. Do we get that? Never eat soggy waffles. Sorry, I don't know why I say worms. It's worms to me. Now let's move on to the Patriots. So, the Broncos are 12-3, and they have their X. The Patriots, our current king of the East. Now, the Patriots, after week 16 games, they have clinched the playoffs. They now get an X. Clap it up for the Patriots. They are never dropping out of the top 7. No matter what happens, they stay in the playoffs. Could they drop? Yes, they could drop. But will they drop out of the playoffs? No, they will not. Their record is also 12-3. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, as I call it, Trevor Lawrence and the beautiful hair. He's got beautiful hair. They sit at number 3. And they are the kings of the South, baby. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, after week 16, they too get an X. They have clinched the playoffs. They will never drop out of the playoffs. No matter if they lose the rest of their games, they will always make it to the playoffs. So congratulations, Jaguars. Jaguars, not wires, wars. You punched your ticket to the playoffs, baby. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. All right. Pittsburgh Steelers. They sit as the current kings of the North. Their record is Jaguars are 11-4. Steelers, current king of the North. Their record is 9-6. Now, we don't get to put an X for the Steelers. Womp, womp, womp. Why? They haven't clinched their division yet. They haven't clinched the playoffs yet because they're still in a battle with their friends, the Ravens, who are in their division, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that later if you have questions. But just know, the Steelers are not for sure in the playoffs right now. We will talk about how they can be by week 17. But after week 16, they haven't clinched yet. So they got a lot to prove, baby. They got to win. Here we go. Let's see questions. They got help from the 49ers? Yes, they did. Okay. Not the Steelers. Okay. Beep, 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 beep. All right. Here we go. Now we move on to our wild card. I see the cat sitting by the door now. I might have to let her out if she starts meowing. Anyways, we're moving on to our wild card, our number 5, 6, and 7. And this stays the same. The Chargers are 11-4. And ladies and gentlemen, the Chargers have clinched the playoffs. Clap it up for the Chargers. Chargers have clinched. No matter what happens to the Los Angeles Chargers in week 17 and week 18, nothing will knock them out. They will remain. Nothing's gonna break my stride, right? They're gonna stay here. That's a big thing. Okay, moving on. At number 6, we have the East, the Buffalo Bills, and they are at 11-4. And they too get an X. Clap it up for the Buffalo Bills. Even as a Dolphins fan, I'm clapping it up, baby. Even as a Dolphins fan, I'm clapping it up. The Buffalo Bills clinched. And I want you to take a look at the Jags, number 3, the Chargers, number 5, and the Bills, number 6. Now, the thing that they needed to do to clinch the playoffs was all 3 of them needed to win in week 16. Check, they did that. But you ever heard that song, I get by with a little help? 49ers. Because the 49ers beat the Colts, the Bills, the Chargers, and the Jags were able to punch their ticket by week 16. Now, had the Colts won that game, the Niners lost, it doesn't mean that they wouldn't make the playoffs. They just wouldn't have secured the bag by week 16. So these 3 teams got by with a little help from their friend, the San Francisco 49ers. So it's kind of cool. And that's my favorite part about December football is watching the different teams help each other. And I forget who it was. I think it was the Chicago Bears, and we'll talk about it when it comes to the NFC. Yeah, we'll talk about when it comes to the NFC. Okay. Bills in playoffs, Chargers in playoffs. Beep, 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 clap, 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 clap. Here we go. Let's move on to the Texans. Texans are number 7, and they're at 10-5. They have not clinched the playoffs, so they don't have that stamp of approval. And why do I have a number 8 and number 9 here? As you can see, they're below the red line. They are not in the current playoff picture. Remember, it's 7 and up that's in the playoffs. That's because they have not been eliminated from playoff contention yet. They still have a chance, a very, very, very small chance to make the playoffs, but it still is possible. Give me a second, Kit Kat. Here we go. The Colts are 8-7. The Colts are in the South. The Ravens are 7-8. They drop to below 500, and they are in the North. Give me a second, Kit Kat. So they're not out of the playoffs. The Ravens are looking to take the Steelers spot. So if you look, the Ravens, it looks like they're 2 games behind the Steelers. There's 2 weeks left. If the Ravens win out and the Steelers lose out, this could shift things. Probably depending on a couple of other games, right? This is where it gets into situational things where even if the Ravens control their destiny and win out, 7 other teams need to do this, that, and the other for them to make it. I don't know exactly what that looks like for them because I'm not really paying attention to their exact playoff push, but just know that they're not eliminated yet. Quick 5-second pause to let Kit Kat back out and then come back into the NFC. Clap it up for the NFC and the thing. Yeah, girl. Come on. Move. There you go. All right, here we go. We are moving on to the NFC, and baby, get your popcorn ready. No, I'm serious. Get your popcorn ready because this is going to be a show. Because this one, here we go. I got to put this down for a second. Here we go. We have our NFC. Now, before I can write anything down, I usually say to my kids, in the NFC, we have a change, and let's watch for that change. I'm picking up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Watch. Panthers move to the King of the South in the NFC. The Niners move up. The Rams drop down 1 spot. Here is where things get interesting. Watch this. The Cowboys are officially eliminated from playoff contention, so we can toss them onto the couch. And you would assume that the Panthers and the Buccaneers are going to switch spots, but not so fast. The Vikings are number 9, but they're eliminated from the playoffs. I want you to hear this. The Vikings sit technically at number 9 in the standings, according to NFL.com. They're number 9. The Bucs come in at number 10. Well, how is this such a flip-flop? And how is a number 10 team still in contention with a number 4 team? How is this possible? I'm going to break it down for you. Let's just start by writing all their records. Here we go. And I'll take a look at the chat in a second. Okay. The Seattle Seahawks, baby, they are the kings of the NFC, and they are the kings of the NFC West. They sit at number 1. They have clinched the playoffs, and their record is 12-3. Wow, wow, wow. Clap it up for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Chicago Bears, bear down. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best. Chicago Bears sit at number 2. They're the kings of the North. That's right. I said it. King of the North. They are 11-4, and they have officially clinched the playoffs. They get an X. The Bears get an X. No matter what happens the next 2 weeks, they are never, ever, ever moving out of the playoff picture. They're in, baby. They punched their ticket. Clap it up for the Chicago Bears. That's right. Here we go. Sitting at number 3, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Currently sitting as the king of the East, right? Their record is 10-5. Okay? The Eagles, watch this. The Eagles get an X. They have clinched the playoffs. But I'm not done yet because we're going to add a new letter to the list. The Eagles get a Z. And usually in school, a Z means you have failed to turn your assignment. Flashbacks, a Z means you didn't even attempt it. There was nothing you turned in. You got a 0 in the grade book. That's a Z. But in the NFL world, a Z means that not only did you clinch the playoffs, you have clinched the king of your division. What does this mean? This means that the Philadelphia Eagles will never ever move out of the top 4. They are secured in the top 4. Remember, 1 through 4 are the kings of your division. The Eagles have the Z. They're never moving out of the top 4. Could they move up or down? Sure, but they're never dropping out of the top 4. And this is very important, this king of the division. And we can talk about that later. That's not a today conversation. That's a later conversation about why. But just know that the Eagles are officially the kings of the East. Take out the blowhorns. Beep, 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 beep. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. Here we go. Okay. Now we have the South. And this was a big change. The Carolina Panthers sit at 8-7. And they are the current kings of the South. They do not get an X. They do not get a Z. It's too much of a tight race right now between them and the Bucks. Too much. It's coming down to the wire, so they can't clinch yet, right? For the NFC South, it's either you're the king of your division or you're not in the playoffs at all, right? Because each division is represented in the playoffs. So notice, when the Bucks lost to the Panthers, they got knocked out completely, all the way down to number 10. So you're either in as the king or you're out. And that's why this one is so tight. Okay, here we go. Let's move on to number 5. Now, the 49ers started week 16 sitting at number 6. So they jumped up 1 spot, and now they're sitting at number 5. They are currently, beep, 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 11-4. And they get an X. The San Francisco 49ers, Brock Purdy and Mr. Irrelevant, Kyle Shanahan, George Kittle, all the above have clinched the playoffs. And fun fact, the Super Bowl this year is held at Levi's Stadium. It's held at the stadium of the San Francisco 49ers. So if the 49ers make it all the way to the bowl, they could be playing at their home turf. How cool would that be? That'd be pretty sick. Okay. Here we go. Number 6 is the Los Angeles Rams. And remember, they sat at the top for a long, long time. But you know, it gets lonely at the top and it's hard to remain the number 1. It is such a hard thing to do. So props to the Broncos for being able to do it. They've been flip-flopping with the Patriots. But again, we're on the NFC. Sorry, my ADD got a little ahead of myself. The Rams. The Rams are number 6. The Rams have clinched. I believe they were the first team to clinch the playoffs. So they have been clinched. They're like, been there, done that. We've had our X. Where have you people been? We've had our X. So the Rams have clinched. They've had their X for maybe 2 weeks now. And they are 11-4. Okay? West, West, West. The West in the NFC is tight. And I can't wait to watch that play out. Now, we move on to number 7. The North, the Packers. They are 9-5. They have not clinched yet, right? They got a lot of work to do. Jordan Love, I think, got a little injured in that game. Maybe a concussion. Micah Parsons is out. They've got to buckle down and figure it out these past 2 weeks. Go, Pack, go. Let's see if you can do it. Okay. Number 8, the Detroit Lions. This loss to the Steelers. Detroit. It was big for you guys. That loss did not help. The Lions sit at an 8-7, right? They're in the North. They're behind the Packers. They're behind the Bears. Notice, slipping through my fingers all the time, right? It's slipping through their fingers. And they got to win out or else. And I believe the Lions, they can't just win and get in. They need other things to happen. They need to rely on friends to lose to get them in, which is harder. They don't control their own destiny. And that's sad to see. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, you're right. Packers, 9-5-1. They decided to tie against the Cowboys. That is correct. Okay. Here we go. Thank you for complimenting my singing. The Minnesota Vikings, yes, they're here at number 9, but guys, they're eliminated. Let's clap it up for 9. Let's clap it up for J.J. McCarthy. Let's clap it up for Kevin O'Connell. I really thought something more was going to happen this season with J.J., but I think he's just got a lot to figure out. But I really like Kevin O'Connell as a coach. Anyways, the Vikings belong to the North, and the North is just super competitive, and they just slip through their fingers. So even sitting at number 9, there is no way they make the playoffs. Okay. And number 10, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're in the South. They are sitting at 7-8. And this is what I want you to look at. This is where things start to get a little complicated, and you're saying to yourself, well, how? How can an 11-4 team be sitting at number 5 when it needs you to remember that the top 4 teams, I'm going to lose that. That's dried out. The top 4, this is what it's like being in my classroom. Congratulations, you get a sneak peek. The top 4 teams go to the kings of your division. So it does not matter that the San Francisco 49ers are 11-4. It does not matter that the Los Angeles Rams are 11-4. The Seahawks are the king of their division. They cannot be in the top 4 because the Seahawks already have it, right? So if you look at the team, that was very Miami of me. If you look at the team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're number 10. They're in the South. If you go up, beep, 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 the next South we get to is the Carolina Panthers. 8-7, 7-8. They're 1 game behind each other, okay? These next 2 weeks really, really matter. We're going to get into now that we have this, I actually want to do a little quiz for you guys. Before we finish ourselves off, and I tell you what to look for in week 17, I want to give you a little quiz, okay? I'm going to be watching the chat. Here we go. Do I start Stafford or Brissett? I don't know. Oh, I love how my husband is having conversations in there with other people. Okay. Tell me, how many teams in all make the playoffs? Please write it in the chat. Good. 14. 14 teams do make the playoffs. Now, how many teams in the AFC make the playoffs? Let's do the math here, people. Good. Okay. We got it. 7-7. Now, what are the top, in Miss Crippen terms, the top 4 spots of the playoffs go to who? Who do the top 4 spots go to in each conference? King of the division, division leaders, king of division. Beautiful. Now, what is our 5 through 7 called? Wild card. Okay. I think we've got it. Now, anything else I'm missing? I don't think so. Are you ready to see how week 17, there's not a lot. I'm going to go through this kind of rapid fire, how week 17 could make or break things here in the NFL. Are you ready? All right, here we go. This is the last little session of our live. I'm going to say thank you afterwards, and then I'll kiss you goodnight. But we're not done yet, baby. Here we go. I've got my candy cane, and we're ready. Now, here are clinching scenarios in week 17. So pay attention because you're going to want to listen to these games. Now, after week 16, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I know my kids that are watching it, 6, 7, I get it. We have 10 teams that have clinched the playoffs. There are 14 spots. 4 spots remain available. Now also, we only have one team that has clinched the crown. So a lot of things can happen in week 17 that change this. Here we go. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos. If you're the Broncos, listen up. Even if you're not, pay attention. The Broncos play the Chiefs in week 17. They can clinch being the king of the AFC West if they win and the Chargers lose to the Texans. Broncos take the king spot if they win and Chargers lose to the Texans. Okay? Okay. Now, the Broncos can also clinch the king of the AFC, meaning they're number one forever and ever and ever if, now this one's a little more complicated. It's not as easy as the first one. If they win, the Chargers lose to the Texans, the Patriots lose to the Jets, the Bills lose to the Eagles, and the Jaguars lose to the Colts. Again, a lot more scenarios have to happen. What is most likely for the Broncos this weekend? They could clinch the AFC West. Boom. Let's move on to the Texans. The Texans, did I say Broncos or did I say Chargers? I say Broncos. Okay. They could give themselves a Christmas gift. The Texans, right here, number 7, play the Chargers. Now, the Texans have the chance to clinch the playoffs this weekend. All they have to do, my friend, all they have to do is, like Jameis Winston said, get that W, baby. They got to get that W. They win and they clinch. Now, let's say the Texans don't beat the Chargers. If the Colts lose, then the Texans make it. But the best way for the Texans to win it, to get in it, is to win it. To get in it, you got to win it. Simple, simple. Now, there's another really long one that involves like 6 teams, so that's the easiest way. Jaguars. The Jaguars play their division rival, the Colts, this weekend. The Jags can clinch and become the king of the AFC South by week 17 if the Jags win and the Texans lose to the Chargers. Jags need 2 things, a win and a Texans loss to the Chargers. And they become the king, baby. Just like that. Okay, now we move on to the Patriots, the AFC East. The Patriots have a chance to take their crown back that Buffalo has held for too long and that Miami hasn't held in a long, long time. The Patriots have a chance to become the kings of the AFC West. Kings of the AFC East in week 17. They play the Jets. All they have to do is they have to win. They have to beat the Jets. And the Bills have to lose to the Eagles. So, Luca, if you're watching, and if Sebastian beats you and if Logan beats you and Sebastian wins, Sebastian gets the king of the division. Okay. No. Scratch that. Reverse it. Luca, if you beat the Bills and Sebastian wins, Sebastian gets the king of his division. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Let's go on to the Steelers. Our last in the AFC. This is the last person that can clinch anything. And the Steelers right now have the opportunity. My boy Oliver has the chance to become the king of the North. He can be crowned the champion of the North. It's not Jon Snow. Could it be the Steelers? And the way that they do that is all they have to do is win. And they play the Cleveland Browns. If the Steelers win and beat the Cleveland Browns, it's it. They're kings of the North. Now, for some reason, if Shedeur Sanders and Myles Garrett just pull up with a game to be whatever, and they lose, then the Ravens have to lose to Green Bay, and they become kings. So they need to win, or the Ravens have to lose. They both don't have to happen. Just one of those has to happen. Okay? Here we go. In the NFC, let's move on to the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful NFC. Let's start with the Panthers. the Carolina Panthers are going to play the Seattle Seahawks at Lumen Field, a stadium that I want to go to very badly. However, the Carolina Panthers go to play at Lumen Field, and the Carolina Panthers can clinch and become the king of the NFC South if they go into Lumen, they beat the Seahawks, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go into Miami and lose to my Dolphins. If those two things happen, the Panthers become the kings of the South. Very, very hard. The Seahawks are looking really, really good. So I have a feeling Panthers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, guys, they see each other in Week 18. That is the last game of the season. I have a feeling that last Week 18 game is going to be flexed to like Sunday Night Football, and that's going to be whoever wins that game is the king of the South. And win and you're in, and lose and you're done for the season. That's my prediction. Don't quote me on it, or do. Okay, now the Bears. Here we go. The Bears have the chance to clinch the NFC North. Now, how do the Bears clinch the North? How do the Bears become the kings of the North? All they got to do is win, baby. All they got to do is win, no matter what. They win, they're in, they're kings of the North. They get that Z just by winning. And they play the Niners. So, not just a easy win. I mean, no win is an easy win because anything can happen, okay? But let's say the Bears don't win. Let's say the Bears slip up and they lose to the Niners. The Green Bay Packers lose to the Ravens. Bears are in, right? So those are two scenarios that punches the ticket for the Bears to be the kings. Here we go. The Packers. The Packers, we just talked about it, they play the Ravens. The Packers can clinch the playoffs. The way that the Packers clinch the playoffs is if they beat the Ravens. The Packers beat the Ravens, they are in. Now, let's say the Packers don't win. There's one more way they can make it. I get by with a little help from my friends. Hey, I get by with a little help from my friends. Now, if the Packers don't win, they need the Lions to lose to the Vikings, and they get in. So the Packers would call for help from their friends in the North. Hello, little lion, will you please lose to the Vikings? And if you lose to the Vikings, I punch my ticket into the playoffs. Just like that. All right, last but not least, the Seahawks. The Seahawks have the chance to clinch the NFC West and become the kings of the West by Week 17. And they do that if they win and the Rams lose to the Falcons. So just winning for the Seahawks won't give them the king title yet. If they want the king title by Week 17, they need to win and the Rams need to lose. Doesn't mean they can't get the king title. It just means they can't get it by Week 17 if that doesn't happen. Okay? Now, I want to do an honorable mention to the San Francisco 49ers. Because the 49ers can clinch to the division if they win the rest of their games. The Niners play the Bears and they play the Seahawks. The Niners beat the Bears. If the Niners beat the Seahawks, boom, they become the kings of the West. Not necessarily number one, right? So a lot of things are moving and shifting. A lot of things are happening. Anything can happen in the NFL. And I think it's my favorite thing is watching all these things unfold. And thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope you all have enjoyed the live. Again, I tried to make it horizontal. I shot this on my phone. It would not let me. Maybe I'll try again next time. Yes, Corn Doggy, Bears, please, we need you. He is begging for help. Again, thank you so much for joining my first live, my first time doing this without my kiddos as an audience. I miss them terribly, but it was so cool to have you all here live in action doing this with me. And I can't wait for more weeks to there's my husband. I can't wait for more weeks to come to do this together. I love growing this game of football, breaking it down on a fun level where we can all get involved because that's what it's all about. It's getting together around the game that we love. And I say this all the time to my students is that there is too much hate in this world to spread it through football. Yes, we want to beat each other's teams. Yes, I don't want the Bills to win. I don't hate the Bills, right? Do I want to see them lose? Absolutely. But that's where I draw the line, right? So again, thank you for making this such a fun space, such a kind and respectful space. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday, if you'll have me again. We can break down everything. I'd love to hear what you thought in the comments, anything that you liked or didn't like. I'm looking to always improve myself. But again, thank you again for being here. I could ramble on and on about how grateful I am for this community and for this space and for you supporting NFeLementary, but I will save it for another day. So yeah, have a fantastic evening, everyone. May the odds be ever in your favor for week 17, and have fun watching the game that we love. If my students are watching, go to bed. Not yet, but soon. And adios. And I'll catch you next time. I'm going to leave you with my message that I always say. Football is way more than the X's and O's, and the lessons truly go beyond the gridiron. Adios, my peeps. Yeah. How do I end this live? Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes.